Russian President Vladimir Putin visited a drone factory as well as an AvtoVAZ automobile factory on Tuesday during his Samara region trip. According to Associated Press, Putin said earlier Tuesday that his country was ready for negotiations with representatives of Ukraine but doesn't see any desire on the Ukrainian side to solve legal issues.
Конечно, особое внимание ветеранам. Мы расскажем о программе, которую мы уделяем семьям сотрудников, которые воюют на СВО.
Так точно, Владимир Ильич. И даже для нас, для тех, кто работает на госслужбе, тоже очень хорошо. Поэтому вот это как раз таки та вода уже, которую я вам докладывал, что ему на ней переходит, и всем своим коллегам рекомендую.
Наш губернатор ездит по этой машине. Вот сзади просто на самом деле комфорт.
А это следующий этап. Вот здесь вот мы хотим показать вам макеты двух кроссоверов и одного мини-вэна. Они, да, это я сейчас все чуть подробнее расскажу. Вот это уже творение наших молодых дизайнеров.
Как называется? Аура, да? Да. Мне очень понравилось. Заднюю передачу включаешь, видимость хорошая, управляемость, здорово. Что-то есть, что вы хотели? Имея в виду, что здесь у вас беспилотие развивается активно, здесь центр создан такой очень хороший, который мы планируем делать одним из.
Russian and Ukrainian international journalist, political commentator Ivan Yakovina predicted the scenario that could unfold in the near future. Trump doesn't even have to start supplying these weapons. He can simply threaten, say, okay, if Putin refuses to start peace talks, we will start supplying ATACMS missiles to Ukraine, hundreds or thousands of missiles, and we will think about starting to supply Tomahawk cruise missiles. If you don't want to negotiate peacefully, then we will fight. What should we do? There is no other way out. The political observer shared his conclusions with the Ukrainians. You know, for Russia, strikes with long-range weapons are very painful. I will tell you why. I have already spoken about this. They do not have the ability to restore military infrastructure. There is no well-functioning industry. If the industry that is still working is regularly destroyed by strikes from the same Tomahawks, then, of course, for Russia, the situation of being left completely without an army, without any military and critical infrastructure for several months will be risky. The American threat to send Ukraine a significant amount of long-range missiles can really play its role and force Russia to sit down at the negotiating table very quickly. This is a real threat. Now, if it is combined with oil and pressure on China, it will work 100%. Ivan Yakovina concluded. Let us recall that Yakovina reported who and why is going to do very painful things to Putin. America under Trump may strengthen sanctions against Russia and deal a powerful blow to the Russian economy, Ivan Yakovina reported. After that, the journalist quoted the future US Secretary of the Treasury, who assured that he would find a way to put pressure on Putin to end the war in Ukraine. The US Treasury Secretary can hit Russia harder than the Defense Secretary. Scott Bessent, the nominee for Treasury Secretary, says, if any officials in the Russian Federation are watching these hearings regarding my nomination, they should know that if I am confirmed and if Trump asks for increased sanctions against Russia as part of its strategy to end the war in Ukraine, I will 100% support increased sanctions, the political observer reported. After this, Ivan Yakovina explained how to perceive what the future US Secretary of the Treasury said. The person on whose determination the introduction or non-introduction of sanctions against Russia will depend says that he will gladly introduce these sanctions and, accordingly, he can hurt Russia very much. He has two options. The first option, if the Russian Federation agrees to cooperate, then the sanctions will be softened. If Russia does not want to resolve the issue in a good way, then the sanctions will be strengthened. It's very simple. During Trump's first presidency, only minor sanctions were introduced against Russia. Now, he's ready to twist arms and achieve his goals by force. The journalist concluded. Ukraine's 22nd Mechanized Brigade killed a North Korean company commander in the Kursk region and got a chance to assess his equipment. And as Forbes analyst David Axe writes, the North Korean soldiers' weapons present a rather ominous sight for the Ukrainian armed forces. Thus, the North Korean soldier had a Chinese-made radio, grenades and 2 machine guns, an AK-12, and a 12-gauge Vepra 12. Obviously, such a heavy combat load is possible due to the high standards of physical training of the North Koreans. As analysts note, the Vepra 12 shotgun is obviously designed to combat FPV. At the same time, the Ukrainian military notes that the DPRK military has excellent training in terms of accuracy. As the military notes, the North Koreans have developed a suicidal but quite effective tactic for capturing Ukrainian drones. One person acts as bait and 2 others set up an ambush and destroy the drone. Fitness, a sophisticated shotgun and sophisticated counter-drone tactics did not save the North Korean soldier when he engaged the battle-hardened 22nd Mechanized Brigade. But his outstanding equipment certainly made for an ominous sight for Ukrainians in the Kursk region, Axe writes. The Ukrainians have even armed some of their drones with dual shotguns, transforming them into aerial drone hunters. Some impoverished Russian troops have taken to social media to beg for supporters back home to send them shotguns. Any shit will do, one desperate Russian pleaded. By contrast, the North Korean colonel's own shotgun may be military issued. More than a few Ukrainian observers have noted the North Koreans' superior preparation for the current era of drone warfare. The Koreans have impeccable marksmanship training, explained Vladimir Demchenko, a Ukrainian soldier and filmmaker. The statistics on the small drones they have destroyed attest to this fact. According to Demchenko, the North Koreans have developed harrowing but effective tactics for ensnaring Ukrainian drones. One man acts as bait while 2 comrades ambush and destroy the drone. This should tell you something about their moral resilience in the face of what I believe is the most terrifying anti-personnel weapon available today. Earlier, Estonian intelligence reported when the DPRK could transfer new troops to the territory of the Russian Federation. North Korea could transfer more soldiers because the DPRK's losses in the Kursk region already amount to several thousand fighters.